Hi everyone, how are you doing? Hey! Well, first let me do a short introduction for myself. My name is Gebrian. I have probably one of the coolest roles within, of all of you, at least the name. I'm called Liquid Studio Director. Overall, it just means I'm just a nerd that just shouts at other nerds. But overall, I think what the Liquid Studio is, we are part of the big Accenture. As you can see, I don't have suits or anything, so it is very different than standard Accenture. We're like a little bit like a Google X, so really involved in all the newest technologies there are. For today, I brought Thijs today to have a very cool keynote. So Thijs, just give it a go.
No, thanks. Well, thanks. Let me talk about learning and a bit about the evolution of technology within learning. I'm Thijs, working at Malmberg. Malmberg is an educational publisher in the Netherlands, but we're also part of Sanoma Learning, which has 5 edtech companies in North and Western Europe. And how many of you have children at primary or secondary schools? See, it's quite a lot. And 95% of all the schools in the Netherlands use at least one or more products from Malmberg. So it's quite likely that one of your children is using the products of Malmberg. And actually, I think most of you also know us from products from the past. We're there for a long period. So maybe you recognize one of these books. These were quite old, but today it's not about books anymore. It's also about digitalization, and that's what we're going to talk about this afternoon. Because when you hear publishing, I think you all think about books, paper. But today, when you look at schools, it's all about blended learning. It's a combination of the print, so we still make print books, a lot of them. But we also have everything in the digital format. And schools nowadays have kind of a mix between books and online digital services. And having everything digital really helped us also to build products which actually were not possible in a print-only world. And for example, digiboards. Most classrooms today have digiboards, smart boards, and these are very handy for the teacher because they can show videos, make instructions, look up things from the internet right in the classroom. Another example actually of digitization is when you make exercises. And you know, the workbooks you have to fill in. Well, we also have them today in a digital format, and when you fill in all these answers, you immediately get feedback right away. A third example of what digitization can do in learning is a teacher dashboard, which gives you, for example, real-time insights in the exercise that the pupils are making in the classroom. So we have teachers today walking around with a tablet, and when the students are working, he can see on his tablet how well his students are doing. And also very nice is gaming. Even gaming is now being used in the classroom, finally, to engage students making their work, doing their homework, etc. So all examples about what digitization can do today in the classroom. So at Malmberg, but also at the sister companies at Sanoma Learning, we actually use these technologies in combination with the pedagogical expertise we already have in-house when we're making the print books. So having digital products gives us another advantage, because digitization helps us also to create a more personal learning experience, as we call it. You can imagine that if you have a print book, well, this print book is the same for every pupil, but having a digital format, you can actually adapt this for every pupil, creating a personalized learning experience. And this helps the teacher actually to what we call differentiate for each pupil. And I'll explain how it works with digitization, or with differentiation. So for example, you have 2 pupils, A and B, and both make the same exercises. So they start working on these 1, 2, 4 exercises. And you can see that pupil A here makes a few mistakes. And because we recognize the mistakes, the pupil will get a bit easier exercises after those 4. We call this differentiation on level, difficulty. Pupil B here also makes these 4 exercises, but he's a little bit better. He makes them all correct. So he will get more difficult exercises. And because this pupil is also a bit faster, he will need some more challenge here. So we give them even more material. So this is differentiation based on pace. So there are all kinds of personalized ways to actually tailor the content that we give to our students. And the next step that we did is actually offer this differentiation to our teachers. Because you can imagine if you would like to do differentiation in the classroom with 30 pupils, it's really difficult for a teacher to know who's doing what. So we built something there to help the teacher. So I'll explain how we did this. And it's a combination of 3 ingredients which we'll explain. And these 3 ingredients make a recipe together with some artificial intelligence solution to come up with a solution that helps the teacher to differentiate in the classroom. So the first ingredient is what we call the knowledge graph. And this knowledge graph actually is a roadmap of all the learning concepts that we offer to the pupil and to the teacher. And on this knowledge graph, we have the relationships of all the learning goals that we offer. And to these learning goals, we also have related content items. So to give you an example, for primary, we teach, or the teacher teaches the kids how to tell time, klok kijken. And if the teacher does that and teaches the pupil how to do this, he starts with recognizing and naming the whole hours, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, etc. After that, he will teach the pupils how to recognize and name half hours, and after that, quarter hours, etc. So there's a precondition between these 3 learning concepts. So this is also an important ingredient for our system to understand what are the relationships of these learning concepts. The next ingredient is data. We need to understand the behavior of the students. So what we do here is we record events, student events we call them, about which exercise is correct and what kind of content does a pupil prefer. Sometimes he likes to watch a video, other pupils like to read some text. And also how long did it take to actually do a certain exercises. So this really gives a good learner profile, as we call it. It's important to know when we give out recommendations. And the third and last ingredient is what we call goal management. Because our courses are having all these different learning goals, you have to have kind of a study plan. For example, about telling time. In our study plan, we try to teach the children that by the end of the 3rd grade, groep 3, these children all can klok kijken, telling time. So there is a date and there's a certain scope. So we have to tell the system which kind of concepts need to be mastered by a certain time. So with these 3 ingredients, actually we can do some magic. And we use some artificial intelligence to call it the black box, and we put these 3 ingredients in there and can come up actually with recommendations and insights for the teacher. And this is how it looks like. So we still give the default learning routes to all our students, all our pupils, but below that you can see here what we call eigen taken is a full personalized learning route based on the learning goals, based on the student's behavior, offering him a personalized learning experience. So this is what you see here, an example of our new platform, which will be launched in January. We call it Bingel. And this is for primary education. However, we also have built other applications. This is an example for secondary education, where we use other forms of recommendation and artificial intelligence to personalize all our learning experience in the classroom. So we believe that we have to build all these solutions in-house because it's very important for us to have a close relationship between the developers, which are a lot of our developers are also here, have a close relationship with our product experts because that creates the best products that we can make. Gebrian.
Thank you, Thijs. Well, this is a little bit, we are at the Java conference, right? So this is a little bit the stack we're using. So sadly, I'm not going to discuss all the technology parts today. I will ask one of my colleagues, Miriam, to join our stage, because we want to show you a little bit of the future of technology. As you can see already, Malmberg, Sanoma is already quite mature, right? I'm not sure how many of you is really using AWS Lambda on production? Just a very few, right? We are already doing that. So it's complete cloud native, on production, up and running. So everything, there's no data center at Malmberg. We have everything in the cloud. So we see already, hopefully it works. So I always, when I do a presentation, they always say to me, Gebrian, there's a few things you should not do with a presentation. First of all, you should not do a live demo because it always fails. And second of all, also no movie. But I think for today, we make an exception. Yeah, so as you can see, how does learning in the new works? What are the most important things in this? So Thijs already discussed about artificial intelligence. So what we see a lot more is that it's a lot, of course, around the individual. Instead, when I went to school, that's a long time ago, way too long, I got really, with the rest of the class, if I was a little bit worse than the rest, I could, need to catch up constantly. But if you were the best of the class, that was definitely not me, needed to wait for the rest. But if you really define what Thijs already mentioned, really define artificial intelligence, it will really be unique for the individual. So you can really define the particular elements from the individual side as well. So you will see more and more, we will start using artificial intelligence with schools. And of course, we also do a new part of presentation, like we do now. So, Miriam, can you do the next one? Not sure yet. So, around extended reality, we're showing you a demo. Like I said, will never work, but I think I'm fine for now. If we see extended reality, we started all with a blackboard, right? I got still teased by a blackboard, then it became the whiteboard. After that, it had become the digital board, what we have now. And this will be the next step in learning, really having interaction. How is that done? We now do it very simple, just with an iPhone. You've probably seen the HoloLenses around. We have some projection tools as well, I understand. But it will be a lot more immersive. So really being, coming together with the child and to learn as well. And you can do all kind of cool games with this, but it's really interaction with the individual. And I think those new technologies are all cool, but there's one thing for me that is above all else. Okay, can you do the next one? No, can't grab it. So the last thing is, of course, security. I think it's, we see it a lot, and we all have already a cool name, devs, SecOps, and what God knows what. But I think it is a really important topic. So we were discussing it internally quite a lot. Even though we're not only saving a lot of personal data from our children, it's not that personal. But we are storing information. And we try not to bring that really from having the person itself and do the blame or shame game. But we have, even though we're not only storing secure data, what happens if, for example, tomorrow the Telegraaf comes with Malmberg lost all information to a Russian hacker, so all our kids' information is on the street.
That's a nightmare.
That is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Well, I think probably both of us that don't have a job then afterwards.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it is something to keep in mind. And I think for you as well, and I think this morning we had some keynotes, and today also a lot about the technology area. But I think always, especially I've been a developer for, I don't know, 15 years already, it's always a small element, the security. But I think it's becoming more and more important to make sure your security is in order. So definitely get some experts in, etc., especially like we do with some of the very secure data. It's not only about sometimes the data, but it's all around your branding. We all know what happens with Facebook, right? It was not even Facebook's real issue, but it was a third party that created the issue, but they, of course, got to blame. And they have deep pockets. Yeah, we a little bit less, right? So let's close it out. Intelligent learning unleashed. That's a little bit how we call it. I think overall, indeed, everything becomes more intelligent, except me, probably. But I think we need to really understand that our kids as well, there's a new era coming. We try to do that, of course, with the demo as well. Do something else. I was a little bit hesitant as well, of course, with the demos, because there's like 1,500 or 2,000 people here all on the Wi-Fi connection. But I think for now it's fine. So I would like to thank you a lot for attending our keynote. If you have questions also a little bit more on the technology side, don't hesitate to go to our booth, the Accenture/Liquid Studio booth, or the Malmberg booth. And I believe you guys have some tasty stuff, right?
Yeah, in the coffee break you still have some room left. We have some nice bossenbollen, so please feel to join us.
Thank you all.
Thank you.